Well, England lost the Euro final to a guy who, it would appear, is a proud supporter of Vox, VOX, however they pronounce it in Spanish, Spain's equivalent of Fratelli d'Italia, Meloni's party in Italy. And the assassination of Donald Trump was blamed on a deranged Roma journalist. It's good to be back. All right, what's going on, folks? Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to another episode of the Bordello. I'm outside at my girlfriend's house, at my girlfriend's family's house, as a neighbor has just made an appearance out of his sliding door in a bathing suit. He is walking into his in-ground pool, and he has begun to wash his face, and I hear him splashing next door. He's wetting his hair. It's and I want to talk about the would-be assassination of Donald Trump. Well, buckle in. We got a live audience this week. I mean, what a weekend. What a weekend for the West. England lost another major tournament. All is right in the world. Basically the same team that lost to Italy a couple of years ago. Southgate has stepped down. That team looks set to continue to never win again. I saw a funny meme of someone saying Harry Kane is it's like the guy married to his wife for 10 years trying for a child, and Yamal's the guy who bangs his girlfriend at the age of 15 in the high school bathroom, and they get pregnant on the first go. What can you say? I mean, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun to kind of watch the celebrations over the past couple of days. I, would have preferred that, obviously neither team had gone to the final. England for obvious reasons, just because they're kind of everyone's arch nemesis, and because, I don't know, I live in Canada, and I feel like it's my duty to almost pull against my imperial overlord. I think it's a good thing to do as a subject of the crown, to pull against England. But then obviously Spain for sporting reasons, because, I guess the Italian side of things is you don't really want your cousins to do too well. I guess ultimately you'd rather them win than like Germany, right? Someone you have a little bit of a cultural affinity for, someone you don't have like this weird natural sporting and like, I guess just social rivalry with, such as, Germany. But even then, I think you kind of have a little bit of distaste for some of the people that are closest to you, right? Or some of the countries that are closest to you. You don't really want France to win, right? We share a border with them. We share a lot of cultural similarity with Spain. You'd rather them not win. But it has been fun to see guys like Morata win, guys who have played in Italy before. It is nice also to see like a real cocksucker like Dani Carvajal win. Because he taunts the opposition, he gets red cards. He's he looks like, apparently his father was a Spanish police chief. He actually has that look, like he could be kind of a military guy, like a Spanish military guy. He looks like a guy who's probably going to get a little fat when he retires. He looks like he really loves the king of Spain, and apparently he doesn't like their prime minister. Just today or yesterday, whenever you're listening to this, apparently like in celebrations when they had returned to Madrid, he didn't look the Spanish prime minister in the eye. He kind of just shook his hand and walked right by him. Didn't even stop, for a word with Spain's socialist prime minister. So, that's kind of cool, to see Carvajal, a guy who supports Vox, apparently, doing well, just being a lewd savage. That's kind of entertaining because it does ruffle feathers a little bit. It gets the people going a little bit. So that's entertaining. Just, as an outsider, I like to see chaos, I like to see a guy take a political stance on a guy he basically perceives to be gay or whatever. I would assume that's kind of fun to me. Carvajal's one of those guys you kind of hate when he's playing against you. But then, if you don't really have any skin in the game and you watch him play, you say, oh, beautiful, the dark arts. He does that very well. So, that happened on the weekend. I felt like a little bit of a toxic person pulling against England. I know a lot of people in England, and I don't know that that I shouldn't want them to be happy, but for some reason I just had this instinct in me that's just stronger than anything else. I didn't even have to bet on the game or gamble. Like I was able to kind of pull for Spain or pull against England, really, just with the pure kind of disdain for England that I have in my heart. And it's a pure sporting disdain. I was in England a few months ago. I enjoyed my time there. It's not that dissimilar to Canada, right? A country where, obviously I grew up and I'm familiar with. So as a result, you kind of feel a little bit comfortable in a country like England, in the United Kingdom. A lot of similar jokes and comedy and just similar way of communicating with some nuances, with some differences, but it's not a place that I necessarily have a lot of disdain for. But then just sporting wise, especially as a Southern European guy, you kind of look at them and say, well, they must be defeated. And they were, obviously. And I almost felt bad. Like Bellingham's is a guy doing something, football. He's pursuing his craft at a very high level. He seems like a good all-around guy. He seems like a savage. It is kind of it does fire you up as a guy who's, especially if you're pursuing a thing in life, to see another guy who's a savage, who's just a bona fide, fucking, top dog, do well. You go, yeah, good for him. We should all approach our shit like that, Southgate, by all accounts, it is a gentleman, but it is so funny to see him lose. He just has this weird look on his face all the time. He has this sad, long face constantly. It's just, you kind of know he'll never win anything, unfortunately. And it's not even me making fun of him. He's done more, he's had more success in his life than I have, right? He's, by all accounts, a successful person. He's provided for his family very well through football, and he's come very close a number of times to succeeding as a player and as a manager. But you just know he'll be one of those guys that never wins anything. And but I suppose, listen, it's a credit to him that his players buy into his ideas. Just because, when you consider Spalletti for a second, his whole mantra is "Uomini forti, destini forti." If you're a strong man, okay, who could take on the responsibility that Spalletti, is bestowing upon you, then you will have a strong destiny, a strong outcome. You will do well. But it puts the onus on the player. It's actually a little bit cowardly when you think about it. When you consider that, when you hear that, be a strong man and you will do great things. But, it's kind of your job as the manager to squeeze it out of them. To just put the onus on them and say, you must be strong. If you're not strong, I can't help you. It's like, hey, Matt, you kind of have to build them up a little bit. You can't just, impose all these crazy, overwhelming ideas on them. It burdens them in some way. Then to say, well, if you don't want your destiny to be a strong one, if you want a weak destiny, then you mustn't be a weak man. It's kind of like, hey, man, it's on you. Here's what I think you should do. It ain't easy. You have it in you or not? That's a little, clearly it's not really helpful. Didn't really work. Southgate seems to have kind of simplified his approach to get his players to buy into it. And, they came close. They really, grew in character over the course of the tournament. But, the best team won, obviously. And I don't think there was any real surprise there. They even, they came back in the final. It looked for a moment like they might have done it again. But you can only chase your losses so far, bro. But I would have been happy to just talk about that. But then on the weekend, Donald Trump, by the grace of God, really survived a crazy assassination attempt. Apparently, they're saying that the guy that shot him, or the guy that BlackRock MK Ultra'd into shooting him, apparently was rejected by his high school rifle club because he was a bad shot, is what's circulating now in the news. And I heard that, and I said, he was rejected from his high school. What now? his high school rifle club. That's a thing. You have a rifle club and you're having tryouts. You're rejecting people from the rifle club. You're giving people reason to say, I'll show them they were wrong. And to be fair, they weren't. I guess they were right ultimately. I guess he wasn't. He wasn't a good shot. I guess he hell bent as he may have been to prove them wrong. I guess he didn't. He kind of proved them right. Those who rejected him from the rifle club. Although apparently I heard there's some snipers who have. It's a weird way of wording it. There are some snipers who have claimed, but there are military experts, or I guess like field guys, who have acted as like snipers for military, whatever, in active combat, who have said it was basically a perfect shot, and that Trump just moving his head kind of at the last second is the only reason why he's alive, and it otherwise would have blown his head off, basically, which would have been crazy. But we don't even have to get into like the political side of it, although we could. I mean, but it was funny. Like it wouldn't have been good if he got shot, obviously, okay? And I don't want any of the people who are at his rally to die, as one did, which sucks. Like, that's very sad. It is not a very dignified place to go, to be fair. Apparently, he was protecting his family, which I guess is kind of, good for him, The guy who got shot in the head was kind of like shielding his family, which I guess is a good move. But it's like, bro, when your last act on earth is like hearing Trump talk about like charts and stuff, and boom, your head blows off. It's like, Jesus, man. Like, is that really how anyone wants to, it's not really how you want anyone to go. Like, if you found out your buddy was like, was at a Trump rally and got shot, it's like, buddy, what are you doing there? You don't go to rallies ever. Like, rallies are for retards, to be fair. Like, if you actually look at the people in the background, there's an active shooter shooting in their general direction. Everyone's like standing up like, huh, what's going on? They're filming. Like, there's this one guy in a tank top with his arms crossed like, yeah, what's going on? Like people are clueless. They're just sitting there like sitting ducks, man. Sitting there like ducks. Like evolutionarily, if they had gotten shot, it wouldn't have been good, but like they kind of would have. It was survival of the fittest. It's like, first of all, you're at a Trump rally, which is kind of like a bit of a crazy place to be. Like, you could like Trump and like hear his speeches and get fired up, but to be like, yeah, let's go support this guy, who kind of has a bit of a cult of personality going around and I don't know, propagate that and just cheer this guy on. It's a little strange. Like, you could love him and his policies or the things he says, even if you think like he's kind of playing to, he's playing to the some of the lower IQ masses to try to, I don't know, get through in their, thick little skulls, however he needs to get them on board. Even though he has, Trump legitimately has a lot of like good, larger points about, maybe being non-interventionist and not getting involved in foreign wars and stuff. It's like a lot of the people that go to his rallies, you think probably don't even care about that. They're just like, yeah, brother, preach, yeah, America. It's a lot of that, very rah-rah. So yeah, like when those guys are in an active, shooting situation, as much as you hear about like how the military guys love Trump, and there are a bunch of guys who I'm sure are like, tactically trained and know what to do in a moment like that and are ready to spring in action. You just got these like fucking, these fat Frank sucking, Americans in the middle of PA, like just with a weird look on their face, like, what the hell's going on here? Kind of sucks that actually the one guy who apparently like got shot in the head was just very unlucky. Like, wrong place, wrong time. He actually had the right instinct, right? Which was to like kind of cover up, his family and to kind of bend down, apparently, is what is reported. As opposed to all the other people that just stayed sitting, right? Like filming what was going on, like morons, But anyway, like, look, I do love that when Trump got shot, once he kind of realized, okay, I'm good, he's telling his Secret Service, hang on, wait, let me get my shoes. Which I don't even know what that means. His shoes fell off as he like fell to the ground. Either he wasn't wearing shoes or he was and they fell off for some reason. Or he like changed his shoes at the podium and they were just expensive Shoes. I don't even know what that means. Let me get my shoes. Let me get my shoes. And then, knowing to come up and say, hold on, before you get me out of here, photo op, starts punching the air. Like, it's brilliant PR by him. But my favorite part about the whole thing on the weekend was, obviously, being a guy who's into Italian football and such, was my favorite thing about the Trump assassination was the fact that Marco Violi, the Roma journalist who's on like 17 medications and is completely, deranged, got not only accused of it, I mean, just before in news, just started picking it up and running it as a story because Moussolinho on Twitter, which is, by the way, I hate like that I don't know the guy's name. I hate that I have to call him by his Twitter name. But in this case, I think he almost deserves it because chapeau, like this was a masterstroke by this Twitter account. And I know it sounds kind of dumb to like call someone by like a stage name or like a Twitter name or like a Reddit handle name or like a Twitch streamer name. I hate like when people are like, oh, I'm listening to Hassan Abi or, I'm listening to PewDiePie. Like, it's like, Jesus, can you call the guy by his real name? It feels very weird and juvenile to call, a person by some like gamer tag or some handle. But anyway, this guy on Twitter at Moussolinho, who's like a Roma troll account, who's had a couple of really funny moments in the past, kind of just on like Italian Twitter, on like Italian football Twitter, ran this, not even a story. He just posted a tweet of Marco Violi, who, maybe it'd be best that we give a little bit of context here. Let's take a step back here. Who is Marco Violi, first off? Let's address that. Marco Violi is a guy who lives in Rome, big Roma fan. Apparently he was a pretty respected journalist until a few years ago, and then he kind of lost his mind, and he's been on medication since, and apparently he has like a history of like family mental health issues, and he like stalked a lady who worked for him at his website. It was a really bad case of stalking, and he's kind of become a bit of a farce as a result, and he has like these, I guess it's because he's kind of, become a little deranged. He takes, great offense. He views like as a great affront any kind of other journalist who, I don't know, who he perceives as being like, disrespectful or whatever. And he writes songs about them. He like parodies songs. He can sing, but he parodies like these popular songs. Some of them are just about Roma. Others are about like, just rivals of his, like in the media, in like the Roma media space. So it's kind of cartoonish, and the guy's like a little schizo, obviously. And there was this one story. There was this one song he wrote a few years ago about this like journalist named John Solano, who's like an American, he's like an Italian-American Roma journalist who runs AS Roma Press. And Marco Violi wrote a song called Solano, chuchamelo un po', suck me off, bro, suck my dick, which is, it was really funny. It was just a thing he started doing. This guy started putting out music. He was a songwriter. Like he would write these like comedically, bad songs. Let me play one actually. There was this one he wrote about the Manolas goal against Barcelona in the Champions League a few years ago. Set to what the fuck was that song? That Spanish song. Nina Sofia. I don't know the lyrics, but that's the melody. This is Marco Violi. This is an example of a Marco Violi song. So again, this guy was a Roma journalist, then he kind of lost his mind. He still posts stuff on a website, and I think he has a YouTube channel. He sometimes will wear like a suit and tie and glasses. He's like this chubby, funny looking guy, or he'll have like a Roma shirt on. And he posts these crazy songs like this.
E la Champions League, voglio andare a Kiev, voglio andare a Kiev, e la Champions League.
He can sing.
Voglio andare a Kiev, voglio andare a Kiev, non lo creo, esulta Roma giallo rossa, segna Manolas, torna a casa Messi, è giallo rossa sta città.
So okay. I don't want to get a copyright strike. So that's like this guy who was a journalist, became a bit of a meme. just kind of like a farcical figure in like Italian, on the Italian internet, I guess, right? And so Moussolinho is like a meme page on Twitter, kind of dedicated to Marco Violi and the Violiverso, Violismo. And a few years ago, he started this thing called Violination on Twitter. And I think at one point, the most listened to Twitter space ever was a compilation of Marco Violi parody songs that Moussolinho had like compiled together, and he would just play them for people on Twitter. And like basically everyone on Twitter in Italy would like tune in like once a day for like a week. It was a big thing. It kind of took off, and it was very funny. So anytime there's like some kind of, you know, global event that could be attributed to like one person, this account will like tweet out a picture of Marco Violi and like alter his name and say, this is the man who was responsible for the terror attack in Barcelona, or whatever type of thing. You know? So Trump gets shot the other day in the ear, and like 20 minutes after it happens, as the story is breaking, this account on Twitter just posts a picture of Marco Violi in sunglasses and says something along the lines of, authorities have identified. I'll actually find the tweet here. Let me find the tweet. Some of the stories and headlines coming out of this are crazy, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to. Fuck it. I'll just like paraphrase it. But basically, the account on Twitter comes out with this tweet with a picture of Marco Violi and says, "This is the guy authorities have identified as having been, you know, the would-be assassin of Donald Trump. The shooter is a man named Mark Violet's, a rabid Antifa supporter, and earlier this morning on YouTube, he posted a video saying justice was coming." And this gets picked up on Twitter because it goes kind of viral because people, like, I guess, that are in on the joke, like, start sharing it. And then some African White House correspondent from Cameroon, like, shared it. And then it starts spreading like wildfire. I think Dave Rubin commented on it, the political commentator. And so this just goes wild. And then all of a sudden, like, I guess there's news outlets that are desperate to, like, you know, break stuff quickly, start pushing this story that Mark Violet, which is obviously an allegory for Marco Violi, is responsible for shooting Donald Trump. He's an Antifa supporter, even though, you know, Mark Violet doesn't exist. But it's picked up by El País. It's picked up by, like, Mexican television. There was some, I guess, like, kind of alternative, like, news station in the United States that posted it. I saw this hilarious video of some Trump supporter watching it on the news. Listen to this.
Look at that fucking Antifa faggot. That's the guy that shot him. Turn it up.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, I just blew my mic out. Oh my god. So, holy shit. So they're showing a picture of Marco Violi in, like, what looks to be tactical gear on television, saying, this is the man that shot Trump. Reported shooter dead. So it's showing Marco Violi on screen saying Marco Violi's dead. Now apparently Marco Violi's losing his mind, saying leave me alone. Some of the headlines coming out of this are crazy. Marco Violi, the Italian who went viral after the attack against Trump. I strongly deny being involved. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, bud. I deny any involvement. So he's going after the Twitter account now, and he's taking, you know, legal action. You know, I mean, look, he is a vulnerable person. He is unfortunately a scumbag. Like, he's not a nice guy. He does like just objectively bad things, but you know, like doxing people and threatening people. But fuck, man, is this ever funny? It's not good though, you know, that an individual person kind of had their life shifted upside down like this, but who gives a shit? Like, the guy had nothing going on anyway, and it is just funny. I'm sorry, but like, just it's funny. It's I can't help it. I wish I didn't find stuff like this funny, but I do. It's really tough not to find some kind of, you know, some kind of fucking comedy in this. I think, listen, it's a testament to just how crazy and stupid, the media's gotten. Just media has changed, right? In that, because people want to be like the first to break anything now, a lot of pretty much any outlet that wants to break the news is kind of susceptible to like falling, being a fish, really getting caught, around something like this. And yeah, it's not good. It's not a good, it's a testament to how, to how negatively, the internet has affected society, in some ways. It's one of the ways, anyway, that it's one of the negative things about the internet. But fuck, is it funny, bro? Just the fact that this guy has to come out and say, I'm not involved, leave me alone, is crazy. Jon Stewart's joking about it. Like, it's gone fully mainstream, bro. It's gone fully mainstream. Mark Violets from a fucking tweet, from Italian football Twitter. Like, it's crazy. And apparently he's going to be going on the Italian football podcast with Nima, like, tomorrow. Nima Tavalli Ruzzari, who's, recently been on this show. He's a great guy. He managed to get the guy behind the meme on the show. I wish I had thought to reach out to him and get him on remotely. That would have been so fucking funny, just to get like a full background about what happened. But yeah, the idea that like for a moment, like a bunch of people on the right in the States were like, look at that Antifa. It's Antifa. And it's, to be fair, if you look at the picture that was used, he does look kind of Antifa. But just knowing that he's like a deranged Italian man in Rome is almost funnier. But yeah, man, there really isn't a whole lot that you could say about this other than just chapeau and un applauso. Like well done. Well fucking done. Truly. Like, this was a masterstroke. And you wonder if it could happen again. That, like, the exact same page might do the exact same thing and lead to more people being duped. It probably would happen again, that some people could be duped, but for it to have happened on the scale that it happened the other day was crazy. It was like the number one trending thing on Twitter. It was the number one trending thing on Twitter was Mark Violets. People thought he was the shooter. Meanwhile, the actual, shooter worked for BlackRock. So, apparently, or was MK Ultra by BlackRock. Which makes a little more sense, unfortunately. In other news, clearly less important news, my girlfriend sent me this story that Chiara Nasti posted on Instagram. Chiara Nasti Mattia Zaccagni came back from vacation, I guess. Came back to their home, and it had been, like, completely burgled. And she posted a picture of, like, I'll toss it up here on YouTube. She posted a picture of, I guess, just a bunch of, like, designer items and, like, dust bags and watch cases strewn about on the floor because their shit had been ravaged through and all of their, like, valuables had been taken. And she had the gall to say, prima che lo scrivano I giornali, questa è l'Italia, pezzi di merda. So, just basically she's saying, just want to get ahead of this before it gets into the newspapers. As if like that, just the audacity to think that would be a story that newspapers pick up. I guess, to be fair, like gossip, like a key type of thing, which is like Italy's version of The Sun, might post something like that. That is fair. But it is just kind of, again, another testament to how deeply, screwed much of our society is now. Just that some chick who is a blogger who really has just forged a career for herself, posting pictures of her, of her ass in a floss bikini and of her fake tits, is able to kind of get the attention of the masses, or just of any, amount of people. Just the fact that it gives her any relevance is kind of telling. And I guess it's just, the internet has kind of allowed us to tap into, like, kind of a part of the human brain that's always been there, right? Like you could have been, like for you to have been like a showy whore in Roman times probably would have gotten you infamy, locally. It just would have been harder to diffuse your image everywhere, and as a result, it would have been harder to become, I guess to monetize your sex appeal and so on. But it's very easy to do that now, and so, people, I guess, give a shit about this fact, right? Just a wealthy person got burgled. Okay, gossip. But just the audacity to say, questa è l'Italia, pezzi di merda. Like, you see, this is what Italy's become. What a mess Italy's become. People break into your homes, burgle. Like, that isn't a thing in every country ever. Like, just the audacity to say, hey, well, we flaunt our wealth constantly. Our entire identity is about living, because they're not very smart people. Truly, they're not. Smart people don't drive pink Range Rovers. Can I say that? It is fun to do, but typically, people that are like trying to solve problems or do something with their life aren't really, usually, buying a pink Lamborghini truck. It's just not what they're doing. It's something that, Cardi B might do. And Cardi B's, she's successful. Yeah, she's successful. Well, whatever. She's successful. She's rich. She's not especially, bright or well-spoken. She's a little bit trashy is what it is, right? I don't know what her IQ score is. She may be street smart. She honestly probably is. I think a lot of these women actually who kind of like post their ass, who basically, are kind of like, softcore sex workers in some way. Cardi B was a stripper at one point, but then even, through music, like posting music videos where she's twerking. You're basically a softcore sex worker. Chiara Nasti, yeah, okay, sono una madre. I have a child. Okay, great. But you're kind of like a softcore sex worker. I get it, you might have businesses going, but a lot of it is like, the back of the business is built on the back of like you posting your ass in a floss bikini. That's what it is. Since she was like 15, She was a 15-year-old that like other 15-year-olds wanted to be like, and whose father is a little bit apparently kind of trash. He's this Neapolitan trash guy who kind of like posts. He's a good-looking guy who fucking has flashy tattoos and is a silver fox that wears like Goyard crossbody bags. It's in her nature. It's just who she is. Unfortunately, she comes from, kind of trash. And as a result, as a child, she was allowed to fucking vlog and stuff and post stuff that was, frankly, like, yeah, I don't want to be a prude, but like, it's not appropriate for like, I wouldn't want my 15-year-old daughter posting fucking, pictures of herself on the internet that are a little bit lewd on Facebook or Instagram or wherever the fuck she was posting it, right? Because, older guys are fucking looking at that and it's creepy. So she's built a career on the back of this shit. And when you, and Mattia Zaccagni, is a much more talented person, like the craft he, that he applies, football. But he's not a brilliant mind either, by all accounts. I've heard him speak. He's not a brilliant player. He's smart on the field. He has good movement. He's got a good right foot. He's got decent quickness, but he's not a brilliant guy. Simply put. And generally people that are a little too flashy aren't the smartest. Like, you think Chiesa's probably a smarter guy. He's a good example of a guy who's less flashy, smarter. Just more intelligent if you hear him speak. Better educated, wealthy father. David Beckham, smart guy. If you hear him speak. He actually kind of is. The fun thing about him is he's not that dumb if you hear him speak, but he knows what he wants. He wants, simplicity. He doesn't want controversy. And his whole thing is he's kind of like, right, sue me. I like nice things, and that's just how I want to live my life, right? And it's like, okay, fine. You could be smart and materialistic, but, generally, people are not. But even that, like, Beckham's not flashy, to the extent that, like these people are. Truly. I would argue, even though Beckham's done like some edgy, stylistic stuff, he was more of a trendsetter. Whereas these people kind of, follow trends and so on. And so it's just very strange, to say, I'm a footballer's wife. I've been with two prominent footballers with the Italian national team. Okay. And I don't know how to have money. Like, if you have real money, okay, you don't flex your Rolex watch. You don't flex your designer bags. You don't do that. My girlfriend just opened the door and she's quietly backing into the house because I'm just talking about all the things that she wants in life. Purses. It's not what you want. What do you want? You want happiness. But when you buy money for Chanel, my girlfriend. My girlfriend is a girly. She is a girly, and that's okay. Girlies are allowed to. Listen, girls like collecting shiny things. People have always liked collecting gold, silver. My girlfriend's no exception. That's why people follow Chiara Nasti. But to have the audacity to say, yeah, questa è l'Italia. What a sad state of affairs. It's like, bitch, questa è l'Italia. You're capitalizing on Italians' very materialistic nature and the widespread, obsession with la bella figura. I gotta look good. I have nothing. A lot of Italians just save no money. A lot of Italians just spend money because they want to drive a Range Rover. And it's not to say that there are Italians who have, that. Not to say that there aren't Italians that have money. There are. But generally, Italians with money will be a little bit more spaccone a lot of the time. You will have more showy Italians who like buying designer stuff, who get their shit tailored, who drive cars that are, more expensive than they need to be. Some of them fucking don't even own homes. Some of them just rent an apartment and will just live a lavish lifestyle. Presumably, I guess, to leave nothing to their kids. And again, other people do own stuff, okay? Largely through, honest to God, there's massive, wide-scale corruption in Italy. Like, there's just anyone involved in positions of power or government often does get very friendly deals. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. So, stupid money is thrown around in a lot of Southern Europe. But Italy's, like, especially bad with that shit, I find. Because it's not like Greece, where the standard of living is a little bit lower. You know what I'm saying? It is in some parts of southern Italy, but largely, like in Italy, the standard of living is a little bit, it's way higher than, the average country in the world. But they have a little bit of that, like, that stupid fucking just, I like nice things, I like to look good, fallacy kind of in their brain. So, Chiara Nasti, she's mad because all her designer stuff, which you don't have to own in the first place, which, by the way, is insured, okay? So, boo-hoo. But she's mad because her designer stuff is getting stolen because she's posting about all the crazy, flashy stuff she has. And they're posting that they're on vacation, out of the house. It's not that hard to find out where someone lives. We were talking a week ago about how they were posting about their vacation. So, okay, let's announce to the world that we like nice things. We're constantly wearing designer clothes. We always have designer bags. It is what we spend our money on. We have money. We flex it. We flaunt it. We like going to Dubai, Mykonos, and Miami. Okay? Because we have money. And we're not home now. Nobody's home. It's like, okay, questa è l'Italia. This is Italy. What is she saying? This is Italy. Migrants did it? Like, the people that did it, by the way, are complete morons. They didn't even take the box. Like, the watch loses value when you don't take the box with it. Maybe they ran out of space. I don't know. I hope they made out with a good fucking, score. I mean, it's all insured anyway. It's just, and I get it. In the moment, you come home and you're mad, so you'll just, listen, if I come home and my shit is fucked up, okay, people have, like, gone through my space, I'm going to be rattled. I'm posting about it also. But it is, like, just, I don't know. Like this, that's the scathing analysis. This is Italy. This is America. People love saying that. This is Canada in 2022. This is whatever fucking year it is, bro. Look at this. Toronto 2024. We got a Chinese mayor. Look at that. We got Indian people on the streets. Toronto 2024. You believe this shit? People do that all the time. It's like it doesn't address any of, like, the wider socio-cultural or socioeconomic factors that would have led to whatever thing you're pointing to. It's very strange. So, yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's just ironic that, like, it's ironic to say this is the problem with Italy nowadays. People are stealing our stuff. What she's really trying to say is, sono tutti invidiosi. Everyone's jealous of us. People love to say they're jealous of us, so they came to take our stuff. Like, all right. And you know what? She's probably not wrong. There are people that are probably jealous of her because they're like, that should be me. That should be me fucking sucking a footballer's dick, you know? Because that's how humans are. We're fucking sick in the head, man. We're fucking sick in the head. And then the men aren't even jealous that Zaccagni's banging her. Maybe some are, but I think they're just jealous that he's Zaccagni, that he's playing for the national team. So people are, jealous and give them fucking the evil eye all the time, I suppose. But yeah, it's a little ironic that, one of the, kind of the queen pin of materialism in Italy is shocked that someone snuck into her place and stole her, robbed her of her material possessions. So, whatever, bro. I mean, there's another thing I want to get to here before we wrap. Let me pull this up here. Como Calcio. I mean, welcome to the big leagues. Welcome to the fucking big leagues, Como Calcio. This is a crazy story coming out of Serie A's newest member. Como are not a real team. Can I just say that? It's not a real city. There is a population of people that live there. Small. Their appeal is going to be to the masses. It's going to be a little bit like Venezia, but even more intensely so, because the city of Venice is more prominent than the city of Como. Como is an old city, which was erected on the banks of Lago di Como, in a picturesque valley. I think a long time ago. I think it was at least there in like the medieval kind of Renaissance period. I don't really know, but I know it's been around for at least hundreds of years. But it's like a small settlement. It's not like a massive city. Milan is like the epicenter of, everything. Kind of around there, around Lombardia. I think it's like an hour or two out from Milan, maybe. So it's not a massive city, but it's owned by a guy who's kind of like turned it into his own little fun project. And he's been allowed to do that because there hasn't been much scrutiny over club decisions. It's not La Roma. If the guy who bought Como, I forget his name, but if the Indonesian cigarette magnate who bought Como had tried to buy Roma, he would have been successful probably because he had the money to do it, but people would have cared more about how he ran it. He would have had more, the people would have had more of a vested interest in the performance of the ownership group. Como doesn't really have that. There's no pressure. They can kind of do whatever they want. They can appoint anyone to positions, kind of like Venezia did, appointing like random American douchebags to positions of, power, positions, whatever, just positions in the front office a couple years ago. So Como are basically run by Indonesians. I've learned that. I've learned that basically Como is just run by like the yes men of an Indonesian billionaire. And we learned that the other day because 2 days ago, Como were playing Wolves in a friendly, and I guess a Como defender called some Asian player, might have been Korean, some Korean guy, who I don't know who he is, but some Asian guy from Wolves, Jackie Chan. Some defender from Como called an Asian player from Wolves Jackie Chan. And Daniel Podense, the Portugal international, or the Portuguese player, I don't know if he played for Portugal internationally, it doesn't really matter. Fucking Wolves is, forward or midfielder, Daniel Podense, fucking punched the guy and got sent off because his teammate was called Jackie Chan by a player from Como. Now, first of all, racial incidents in a fucking friendly, that's a little intense right off the bat. Coming in hot, it's July, and we're getting red cards brandished for racial abuse incidents. It's a little intense, but whatever. It's football, shit that can happen. It's no real shock there. Like this happens a few times a year. But the story is really not in the fact that a player from Como called a Korean player from Wolves Jackie Chan, but rather the fact that Como's PR team, I guess their PR team, I don't know, just a representative from Como came out with one of the craziest statements that any professional really just any professional sport club, any professional sport organization has maybe ever come out with. One of the crazier statements that I've seen any company come out with ever. So I want to be clear. This is like clearly the Streisand effect, okay? This is like a clear example of the Streisand effect where I didn't even hear about this story until Como addressed the matter and released this statement, okay? This is from Como's official Twitter handle, okay? Official statement regarding yesterday's incident during our friendly versus Wolves. Quote. Here we go. Our club, hang on. Fucking, hold on a second. Pull this shit up here. There we go. It's a statement from Como. Our club does not tolerate racism and condemns all forms of it in the strongest possible way. Okay, I'm with you. We spoke to the defender in question to understand what was said. He told us the comment he made to his co-defender was, "Ignore him. He thinks he's Jackie Chan." Having spoken to our player at length, we are confident this was in reference to the player's name and to the constant references of, quote, Channy, unquote, made by his own teammates on the pitch. As far as our club is concerned, our player did not say anything in a derogatory manner. We are disappointed that the reaction of certain Wolves players has seen the incident blown out of proportion, unquote. Signed, Mirwan Suwarso, official representative of the ownership group. So as soon as I see this statement, I'm like, oh, this reeks of a fucking Indonesian yes man who just works for a billionaire who has no clue about the customs of Western society. He doesn't understand Western outrage culture. He doesn't understand Western PR. First of all, so this is clearly like one of the worst PR plays ever, one of the worst PR statements ever for a few reasons, and we'll get into that in a sec. Okay, but there are a few things I like about this. First of all, I think like just the audacity to think that people will buy what he's saying here. Okay, this like PR guy from Como Calcio, who's some random guy from Indonesia who works for a billionaire. I want to make that very clear. He probably is like someone's cousin's friend, okay? The audacity of this guy to be like, yeah, we're just going to clear the air here. Really simply, we're going to give an account of events that'll really be pretty unequivocal. Nobody will have any questions after this. Like the audacity to think that this would just get brushed under the rug after the fact. To release something as petty as this would be successful. The audacity to think that is funny. But again, like generally, if something like this happens, okay, you want the PR to be like off the radar. You don't want the PR to like, again, Streisand effect, lead to more people finding out about it, which is precisely what happened here. I don't even know. I would argue you don't even need a statement. If it's a racial, if it's an allegation of racial abuse in which no slur was said in a summer friendly, which has no stakes, and therefore no investigation will be launched, and no ban will be levied, you would argue that you don't even need to release a statement. Don't even address it. Like, if you don't give a shit about it, which you clearly don't even address it. Now, again, by the way, Jackie Chan, that's a little bit light, okay? Punching someone listen, is it a nice thing to say to someone? No. Okay? Is it funny? Yeah. Okay? Yeah, it is. Okay? I'm sorry. Like, I came out a year ago when I saw the Neapolitan guy who they call Uchines speaking Neapolitan. I said he looked like Kim Min-jae, okay? It's a normal reaction to have. Like, I'm sorry, you see an Asian guy and you go, hey, look at this, fucking Jackie Chan. That's light work. I'm sorry. Like, you don't get to punch. Like, Potence actually deserves to get sent off for that. I'm sorry. Like, and yeah, it's a bro move, especially in a friendly where there's no stakes. It is a bro move to come to the defense of your teammate and punch the guy. That is good for team morale. Like, that's actually totally fair on Potence's part. The defender deserves to get punched. But he didn't have to get punched. Like, that is kind of just something that, at the time, sorry, Jesus. That is something that, if this were like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it would just be like a moment. Yeah, okay, keep talking, play on. No one gives a fuck, Literally. like, bro. Like, there was... So to pretend that like this is some grave incident It's really not. Like a few weeks ago, I was playing football, okay, and there was a fat Chinese guy on the bench, okay, who was like eating, literally eating McDonald's. I'm not like creating a straw man here. Like he was literally eating McDonald's during the game, and I fucking took a horrible touch out the back. It was wet. We were down a goal, and I was like, I got a pass from my fucking goalkeeper, and I tried to like barrel forward with the ball, and I took a really heavy touch, and their midfielder was able to kind of like step on me, and I lost the ball as a result. I was trying to fucking like hoof it. I was trying to fucking just gallop and gain ground so we can get the ball deep into their half so we could try to equalize late in the game. And this fat Chinese guy on the bench, we were playing a younger team. They're like maybe 20 years old type of thing, 19, 20, whatever. Really, really annoying. Like kind of like really immature friend group on the bench. And this one fat Chinese guy goes, "That was a horrible touch." And you know what? You're just so mad. I wanted to. I wish I had said this. I didn't. I wish I turned him and said, "Hey, fucking, shut up, Kung Fu Panda." And that would have been great because once you bring race into it, that's not a slur. He's a fat Chinese guy. That's funny, right? Like the girlfriends and the friends that are there from our team are finding it funny. They're all laughing. They're all up in arms, right? They all start fucking calling me an asshole. It gets people going. It gets people riled up. It creates chaos. That's good. Like that's good. There's nothing. Is that a nice thing to say? No, but like sorry, you just fucking heckled me basically. You heckle me, I'm fucking I'm coming for you, right? So to call someone Jackie Chan is that's pretty light work. Like let's be honest, that's not that. It's not a nice thing to say. Like to be clear, it's not very sportsmanlike, but like whatever, To be fair, it is not a it is not a slur. It's not like he called him an actual bad word. It's just not a very nice thing to say. But, so again, it doesn't deserve a punch in a friendly. That much is clear. But, it almost would have been better if like seriously, like if Como just came out and said, "Yeah, we're gonna be the free speech club. We don't give a fuck. You know what? We're gonna be fuck you. We got like a really rich guy who owns our club. Come at us, sue us." Yeah, okay. He called him Jackie Chan. Part for the course. What's said on the field stays on the field. That would have now again. That would have also led to outrage. But that actually would have like more people would have gotten behind it probably and said, "Yeah, all right. I like these guys." I like these immigrants who clearly don't have like any knowledge of like local customs. By local I just mean like just Western customs, right? But again, just. It's the fact that he's condoning it and excuse making that's really funny. This is in a PR statement by a pro club. Like he's getting called Shani on the field, so you called him Jackie Chan. It's like it's not a very good point you're making. That really doesn't that doesn't really absolve him of any responsibility. So if anything, it's an admission of guilt. It's an admission of guilt. But then my favorite part is it's signed in the guy's name, which I almost respect more. It's not signed Como Calcio or marketing team. It's signed by the individual. So he's like taking a bullet for the team here. Like he's just the fall guy. He's the fall guy for the organization here. And I actually took a second to look this guy up to be like, who the fuck is Mirwan Surwarso? And his Twitter, I'm going to overlay this here. His Twitter account, he has two Twitter accounts that clearly both belong to him. One is of a guy, this is him, Mirwan Suwarso. He said, "I wish I had paid attention at school." So he's kind of like one of these renegade types who's like trying to be like, "Yeah, I'm a badass, but now look at me. I'm I don't play by the rules. I wish I paid attention at school. I didn't, but now look at me. Now I'm successful." Just the audacity. Again, I think the guy who owns Como has a personal net worth of like 25 billion euro, which far eclipses the next richest guy in Serie A, like fivefold. Okay, which I think is Rocco Comiso. And, they probably get away with shit like this in Indonesia, where, because they're rich, they just say, "Yeah, I know, it didn't happen that way." People accuse you of this. No, it didn't. Or, yeah, it's no big deal. Like, this feels like a very Southeast Asian kind of response. This feels like a thing that like a rich guy in Thailand or fucking the Philippines or Indonesia would say is, it's fine, forget it. And by the way, the guy will get away with it because this is Italy we're talking about. This is a country where like, This guy has a seat at the table. He could buy them all out if he wants to. And, you know, and you have owners like Claudio Lotito, who the other day came out and said, when people asked him, why are you trying to buy Mason Greenwood? And he basically came out and said something along the lines of, listen, I got a Rolls Royce. No one wants to touch it, okay? But it's a Rolls fucking Royce. And people are charging you like the price of a Nissan for it. I'm sorry. You're going to look at the Rolls Royce. He speaks with this like candor and this frankness that's almost refreshing. You know, this is a country where Amino, who actually, let me fucking pull up this link. This is a country where you have people that call into the radio and say shit like this. Look at this. There's a radio call in Rome the other day from a few days ago, like a week and a half after Italy got eliminated from the Euro. This is a real call. It's a minute and a half long. I'm going to play this here for you guys. Sit tight. So I'm going to play this. You tell me if Italy is the place where they're going to fucking put this rogue Indonesian owner of Como in line, who's got, representatives making crazy immigrant, insensitive, not suitable for, this culture statements. You let me know if you think anything is going to happen to this guy, if or to Como at large.
No, io stavo aspettando, scusate ragazzi, scusate tanto anticipatamente, stavo aspettando notizie dal direttore e come al solito da privilegiati su Radio Olimpia ci illuminerà e ci anticiperà le prossime mosse della Lazio. Ho coniato un pensiero, scusate, ho coniato un pensiero. Ci sono sempre state le convocazioni politiche, secondo me ci sono state anche in questa nazionale delle convocazioni politiche, quindi perché bisogna dare un messaggio al di là del valore del campo, della meritocrazia, giusto o sbagliato che sia, però magari dei giocatori sono stati selezionati perché bisognava dare dei segnali. Inizio a pensare che anche gli acquisti della Lazio sono politici, non è possibile, per carità, è una mia... Scusate, è possibile. Adesso aspettiamo notizie, però se continuano ad arrivare un certo tipo di giocatori, secondo me gli acquisti sono politici. Gli acquisti della Lazio sono politici, evidentemente Lotito e Fabiani hanno avuto un segreto diktat per, non lo so, la nazionale ha fatto degli acquisti politici, per esempio, ha fatto delle convocazioni politiche, ha selezionato dei giocatori perché magari a livello politico e sociale bisognava dare un segnale, per molti giusto, per molti sbagliato, di apertura, di integrazione, e può darsi che a questo punto lo debba dare pure la Lazio, perché non è possibile, io non condivido, perché amo un altro tipo di Lazio, scusate che ve lo dico, ma è una Lazio italiana, romana.
Aspetta, ci sto arrivando, tu stai facendo un chiaro riferimento perché sono tutti di colore. Ok, perché sono tutti di colore. Mi sembra un po' forzata, Chicco, secondo me il punto...
politici, non è possibile.
No.
So this guy goes on a whole diatribe for like a minute and a half. He's like, I think I figured out what's really going on. There's a lot of political moves. There's a lot of players being taken for political reasons. And as soon as he says that, it's a radio station in Rome. I knew where he was going with it, right? I don't know about you guys, but you guys all probably, if you understood, any of what was just said, you know where he's going with it immediately. Even if you fucking don't understand Italian, you just hear his tone. And you know where he's going with it. He's basically fucking waffling, going on and on and on and on and on for like a whole minute. Deliberate, just fucking taking a long time to get there. Beating around the bush. And eventually he's like, listen, I like another type of nazionale. I like another type of Italian national team. I prefer a Lazio, it's Italian, Roman. And then immediately, I like how immediately, like the radio guy kind of shuts him down and goes, ok, like tu stai facendo un chiaro riferimento al fatto che sono tutti di colore. Ok, like he's kind of patronizing him a little bit and he's like, oh, I get it. Oh, okay, they're all black. And then I love how the guy goes, like, listen to this. This is a country with people like this. Maybe millions of people like this, potentially. Listen.
Ci sto arrivando, tu stai facendo un chiaro riferimento perché sono tutti di colore. Ok, perché sono tutti di colore gli nuovi acquisti. Mi sembra un po' forzata, Chicco, secondo me.
Sono tutti di colore. He goes, bravo, yeah, hai visto. these guys speak with so much authority. Like they got it all figured out. They know what's going on. Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you what's really going on. Purtroppo è così. Sadly, I wish it weren't that way, but obviously that's clearly what's going on here. Like that's the tone with which this guy is speaking. So that's funny. But then also, like, the best part about this is he's saying he wants like a Roman Italian national team. When the guy, the only person of color on the Italian national team, as it was put, in this clip, un persone di colore, like the only person of color is Foloruncio, who sounds like he was raised in a sewer in Trastevere. Like, he sounds so Roman. He's like the most Roman sounding player maybe in all of Serie A right now. So yeah. Italy's not going to come down and lay down the law on this guy, but it's just crazy that it's very entertaining to see what's going on at Como. Okay, it's very funny to see what's going on at Como. Like that's who's running it. So Mirwan Suwarso, a random Indonesian bloke with 2 Twitter pages. One of them has 4 followers, and it's like a Como page. I think he's been with the club for like 2 years, pretty much since his meal ticket bought the club, I guess. Just this guy who has no clue about like PR norms and just coming out and saying, no, we're actually disappointed in their players. Just gaslighting the fuck out of them. It's crazy, But yeah, but it bodes well for the season. It'll be a fun year, I don't know. I think Gattuso's Split and Mourinho's Fenerbahce played the other day in a friendly. They had to be separated. There was like a brawl at the end of the game. Like, all's well in the world, Trump survived. England lost. All's good. Everything's all right, The McGill Encampment came down last week. McGill finally got some balls and hired private security to like get bulldozers in and remove the encampment. And apparently there were 30 people left there, all homeless people, living among rats, syringes strewn about. They had dug trenches so that they could drain their piss out of the encampment. Literal rats, bro. Rats on the McGill campus. Rats on a university campus, okay? Like just in 2 months, just turned it into like this dystopian little city where apparently 2 people had overdosed in the last like 2 weeks. Like, imagine you're coming to visit the university campus in the summer. Just rats and homeless people and syringes, fucking people ODing on campus. And that was, by the way, like, that was like why I, and I think a lot of people, why I poo-pooed it, a few weeks ago, why a lot of people seem to kind of like enjoy me poo-pooing it, because these people are obviously fucking like, people that were going to this encampment, I think they might have meant well, but like, very naive, stupid, not understanding what's going on. It becomes, the encampment itself becomes like a tool for other people to just like interlope on that have nothing to do with the school. And that's precisely what happened. And then you got like homeless people there that are like the least like woke, people ever. They'll literally rape you. Like, I'm sorry, but like homeless people are like, if anyone's going to sexually assault you, it's a fucking homeless person unhinged who will just grab you by the pussy. Like, you don't like Trump? In fact, you're with homeless people who will grab you by the pussy and just breathe on you. like that's inevitably what winds up happening when you get, when you try to do stuff like this, right? When you try to do like public encampments or like kind of like lawless little, no, we're running our own shit here. Like, anytime you kind of try to build this little ecosystem, no, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna get power sources into here. You will have homeless people sneak in and just use it for shelter because they got nothing else going on. So it's fun for them. It's a change of scenery. They get to be around, young poon, young prey. Basically, all the McGill students just left. They all just went home to the Hamptons, So that was kind of like, that's why it's kind of why when we went to the encampment a couple months ago when it just started, like why, I had a bit of a patronizing tone about them because I didn't really believe they were going to enact change, obviously. And yeah, well, whatever. But yeah, all's right in the world. A fun week, honestly. A big shout out to Mr. Moussolinho, whoever you are. Again, it is a little fun to have to. It's cute to have to say Mr. Mussolinho. Thank you. Like, it's a really weird name. But just for the masterstroke that he was able to pull, you got to tip the hat and say, hey, man, I'll scream your name from the rooftop. Well done, well executed, fantastic. Capo lavoro. Hit sub if you're new. Toss a like on the video. It helps us out very much. And I'm Sam Adamo, if you're so inclined to follow. If you're in Montreal, we're doing hosting a show this Friday the 19th, and then next Saturday in like the West Island in Dorval. Where can you get tickets? I don't know. It's fucking. I'll put a link in my fucking bio at the link tree in my bio if you're so inclined. For the 3 people that this might that are in Montreal that might still be listening, that might want to come out with someone. If you do come out, let me know you're a listener of the show. It'd be fun. It's always fun when that happens. It's not often, but it's always fun when we do that. It'll be a fun show. The last one was fun. It's been a pretty not gonna lie. It's actually proven to be a pretty horrible venue for stand-up before, which makes it kind of a hell gig, and it's a lot of fun to try to. It's like a war. It's a real battle to try to get people on your side in that room, because most of the people that will come out like hear about the show like on Facebook, so they're all just like old and just with their brains half melted, and they don't really like the type of stand-up that I don't know, that I guess I tend to do, but it works sometimes, and it's fun when it does. But yeah, anyway, if this finds you, feel free to come out. It's at McAllen's Pub in Dorval in the West Island of Montreal if you're a local listener. Till next week, we'll catch you soon. Alla prossima. Ciao.